Today is August 1st, which means that as a Midwest teacher, I have officially started thinking about going back to school. And when thinking about this school year and thinking about last school year, there are a couple things that I wanted to purchase to kind of make my school year better, easier, etc. But I was looking at my paycheck, which has to last me until like August 15th, and my paycheck is saying, there will be no more unnecessary purchases. So lucky for me, I have a will, I have a way, I have a crochet hook, and I have some yarn in my stash, and I'm ready to make these things so that way I feel cute and I feel successful for the upcoming school year. So I have two projects that I am thinking about making on this vlog. Let me show you the yarn and what I'm thinking about. So my first project is a lanyard. And I have not yet seen online a crochet lanyard, which is really intriguing. I'm sure they're out there. I'm sure somebody's made this. There's no way I'm the first person, but I just haven't seen them out there. Granted, I haven't tried to look too hard because I think I know how I want to approach this. But anyways, the first 4 years I taught, I used the same fabric lanyard, one that I got off Etsy, and it was brilliant. But by the time my 4th year was over, it was like fraying and ratty and stained and just a mess. So last year when I came to my new district, I received one of those standard black lanyards and I was like, this works. I will use this until I purchase another. I did not purchase another. And so I wore just a boring black lanyard all year, which is not really the way I like to do things. My first lanyard was a yellow floral, and so I kind of want to go back to that and use this beautiful golden orange yellow color. These beautiful mini skeins, I don't know why I always hold yarn in the most awkward way. There's no easy way to hold yarn without looking ridiculous. But anyways, if you watched my crochet belt video, I used the coordinating mini skeins that were in a pink color to make one of my crochet belts. And so I do have 5 total of these like golden yellow mini skeins, but I don't think I'm gonna need all 5. I think I'm gonna maybe need 3 because they're each about 43 yards. And so the vision is that I would do probably a single crochet. I'm gonna keep it boring. Single crochets are really tight, and so that feels like the best stitch for a lanyard so it doesn't stretch. But I want to do a single crochet, and then I want to do a picot stitch border to give it some cute flair. My mom is a really crafty person, and she did already give me some of this hardware. I feel like I'm modeling this. She gave me some of this hardware so I could make my own lanyard, and I do have 2 of these. Just in case, I guess I want to make 2 lanyards, but I do have 2 of these. I'm sure you can purchase these on Amazon or probably even at Michael's, truly. But I'm gonna use this, I'm gonna use this, and I think this should be a really quick project because if it's just single crochets and it's a thin strip of fabric with a picot stitch, I think the picot stitch border is actually gonna take the longest time. But this should be tops a 3-hour project between measuring, starting, sewing the little loop to put this hardware in. And I think the way I'm gonna make it is just a long strip of fabric, I mean, essentially it is fabric, but I'm gonna make a long strip and then crochet the strip together to insert this, just because I could make it a continuous round, but then this thing would be jingle jangling the entire time I'm crocheting, and I think that'll frustrate me immensely. So I'd rather stitch it closed later than have this on the loop the entire time, but you do you if you wanna replicate any part of this project. Now, the second project that I have in mind is very utilitarian, but I sew on it to look cute. So I'm a very type B person, which means I put things away and I don't know where they are 5 minutes later. So I'm big at doing this with pens and pencils and writing utensils. So I'm just gonna make myself a pencil pouch. And I do have pencil pouches at home, but they're already allocated to other craft supplies I have. So I'm like, I'll just make one. So I have some yarn that I was gifted from my mother's stash. I have no idea what it is, but I found this really nice, it feels like merino wool. It is like this dark green, light blue, dark blue, purple situation that has a little bit of texture to it, and it's pretty thin. It's a pretty thin yarn. I wanna use this, and then just in case, because I don't know if this is enough in terms of yardage, it might, I have this as my backup in case I need to start striping. So I'm gonna start working with this, and if I feel like this isn't gonna go very far, I will add this in and do some striping. This is such a luscious color and I love it. And if I had more of it, I would use it for a wearable, but unfortunately I do not. So here we are, ta-da! Similar in gauge, so it'll all work out. Wool It'll all work out. Now here's the showstopper. Are you ready for this? I didn't want to go buy like a zipper because, again, budgeting, paycheck. So what I'm gonna do is I am going to use a vintage button. Please don't judge this case. I've had it since I was in middle school. Anyways, I have all these vintage buttons. Oh my gosh, they are so pretty. I got them at not even a thrift store. It was like a pop-up thrift store. And I bought them out of all of their vintage buttons because I wanted them. I mean, these are just stunning. Isn't that beautiful? They're like, I mean, look at the font on the back. It's so cool how vintage they are. And so I have those. I have beautiful pink ones. I literally have buttons of all sorts of colors and designs. And I think the best part about this project will be picking a coordinating button that goes with it, because there's just so many cool choices and I love all of them. I mean, look at these. The shape of these is just fabulous. And look, 15 cents. Can you imagine buying buttons for 15 cents? I would lose my mind. So anyways, before I obsess over these vintage buttons for the next 5 minutes, those are the two projects I intend on doing. This should be a very short and quick vlog video just because it's a lanyard and a pencil pouch. It can't be that complicated. So anyways, let's get started on the projects. Okay, I have a quick lanyard update, but I also just want to say I actually did Google crochet lanyard patterns, and I just want to apologize to all the lanyard pattern creators out there because there are some truly stunning ones. So if you are intrigued about an actual really nice crochet lanyard, there are some amazing patterns that are lacy and gorgeous and beautiful. I just want a basic one. So go look at those patterns and then you can judge what I'm about to make because it looks like the preschool version of a crochet lanyard. So anyways, let me flip the camera around. Okay, so I know this is nothing to look at, especially if you've looked up the crochet lanyard patterns like I told you to, but true to my word, I'm sticking with the single crochet just because I think that'll be really effective for what I need it for and how much abuse my lanyard goes through. And so I started with the 2.75 millimeter hook, but it was too tight. The drape was non-existent. It was just a stiff piece of fabric. So I upgraded to a 3.75 millimeter, and I currently have 3 single crochet stitches to make this little strip of fabric. It's like as thick as my pointer finger, and I just wanted to double check to make sure that it does go through the loop here. Also, ignore my nails, they always look terrible. But anyways, I wanted to make sure it went through the loop here, and I will be adding a picot stitch border, but I think that'll all work out and it'll be just fine. So considering this is only the length of my pointer finger, I'm gonna keep going until it seems long enough to measure. So that's my next step. Okay, time for an update. Surprisingly, I am still on my first mini skein, which by the way is only 42 yards. And surprisingly, it has crocheted the entire body of this lanyard. I guess I shouldn't be so shocked because of what happened with the crochet belts, but it is going much further than I thought it would. And I love the way that the yarn is variegating within the lanyard. It's not crazy noticeable, but you can see that it's going from like darker to lighter colors, and I love that. You will notice that I have the aforementioned boring black lanyard next to this lanyard just to see the length. Now this lanyard right here is longer than I would like. It's definitely not meant for petite people, and this badge holder does hit me in the crotch. So I'm trying to shorten it by a couple inches just to make it more comfortable for me. By the way, my mother made this badge holder. Isn't it amazing? It matches my classroom theme perfectly, so shout out to Mom. But anyways, my next step is that I'm going to single crochet or slip stitch these together, make sure that the little hardware is in this part when I do that, and then start doing the border. And I might be able to finish this tonight, which is really exciting. And what a quick little stash busting project. I'm so excited for this one. Moving forward, if I say that I can finish a project that evening, do not trust a single word I say. Because I have found that I am an optimist to a fault, and when I think there's like 5 or 10 minutes left of a project, in reality, there's at least an hour, at least. So don't trust me in that regard. However, I will say I do have a really strong update for this lanyard. I'm about to open my second mini skein. Again, this is 43 yards, and I'm really shocked by how far 43 yards went, because with 43 yards, I was able to complete the entire body of the lanyard, all of the single crochets. Let me get this out of the way. All of the single crochets. And I was able to finish the picot stitch edging on one of the sides. And so really all I have left to do is finish this other edge, so it has this really lovely lacy look to it, and then weave in my ends, and this lanyard is done. And I did have just the tiniest bit of the first skein remaining, but I think I'm just gonna join on this second skein, so that way I have less ends to weave in and I'm not worried about that. And then I can always use this moving forward for something. I don't waste yarn, so this will be used somewhere for something. Anyways, I'm just amazed by how stunning this is. It's so simple, yet it is so pretty. I love the variations in the yarn. I love like a hand-dyed tonal because it's never just one color. It's just every saturation point of that shade, and I love it. It looks so pretty. So I'm very excited to finish this one. I will say the picot stitch edging is taking longer than I thought it would, simply because every other stitch is really tight. And I'm a tight crocheter. I say that in literally every video, but there's a stitch that I'm able to crochet into that my hook just slides right into. And in the stitch after that, oh my gosh, it just, your hook keeps sliding. You know when you're trying to insert and it just keeps sliding? So to make it more efficient, which doesn't sound more efficient, I've been using the hook to literally grab the stitch and pull it open, and then I'm able to crochet into it. So every other stitch has been kind of a hassle, kind of a workout, if you will, and it's taking far longer than just actually crocheting into the stitches. So I'm not gonna pretend like this will take me 5 minutes today, but I am gonna pretend like I might finish this today. I have a couple projects I'm working on, but I would love to finish this today and just have this off my to-do list, so that way when I'm ready for school to start, I can waltz in with this. I'm so excited. Another note, I know lanyards typically or always have like this little spot stitched closed, so that way this lanyard, this little dingle dangle piece can't be moving around. I don't know if I'm gonna do that, simply because I think the picot stitch might keep it from shifting too much. So I'm gonna put on this second edge, and then I will see how it shifts around. I might also just leave it and wear it, and if the first week it's really frustrating, I can just come back and use this nice little nubbin to stitch it closed. But I don't know if that's going to be necessary. Anyways, I wanna show you what it looks like on because I love it. So obviously you can't see the entire lanyard in the camera view. However, you can see just enough of it to kind of understand the vision and what I'm going for. I love this yellow shade. I love a golden yellow or like a burnt orange, depending on how you see this. I love this. This might be kind of a bold choice for some people, but in my closet, it goes with everything. So again, a neutral. I'm so excited to have this finished. This just looks so cute, and this is exactly what I'm going for in my daily life, because as a teacher I do have to wear my lanyard daily, so it does need to be something that I love so much. Anyways, that's my update. Would love to finish this today. We'll see if I actually do. I am working on a couple projects, but we'll see. So anyways, I'll see you guys later. Yesterday I finished my lanyard and I am so happy with it. It turned out absolutely brilliant and I'm in love. I love the colors. It looks like a sunflower, which I'm a big fan of. It's one of my favorite flowers, so that makes me very joyful. I love the picot stitch edging that I put on both sides. I think it was enough to make it cute and fun, but not like too much. Just a simple little lanyard. Now, for how simple this lanyard is, I think it is going to be a little bit controversial, and let me tell you why. So if you are looking at this, you're realizing that it is just one strip of fabric sewed on this side, and you will notice there is no twist in this lanyard. If you wear a lanyard for work or for school or anything else, you know that to have it sit the way a lanyard typically does, like flush against your body, it needs a twist. Now, my hot take is that when I am teaching, I can feel the twist and I hate it. It drives me crazy. You're thinking, oh, Kyla, this sits flat against your body already. What are you talking about? I will include footage to show you what might frustrate some people. So when I'm wearing this lanyard, it does sit flat against my neck and against my chest, but it does have this little U shape on the bottom, which might be enormously frustrating for some people in terms of appearance. I actually don't mind it, and I prefer to have the U shape at the bottom rather than have the twist at the top. There's something about the twist at the top that when I'm like teaching or when I'm wearing it, I can feel it. And so I naturally just start fiddling with the twist at the top, and it's really aggravating to me. And it drove me crazy on my last lanyard that it had the twist. And so I kind of decided that for this one, I'm making it exactly how I want it. And so there will be no twist moving forward. So I did not put a twist in the lanyard. Visually, that might frustrate some people. I prefer it. End of story. If I'm making the lanyard, I guess I can make it however I want, and I did. So now that the lanyard is done, I can start on the little pencil pouch that I want to make to keep my like grading pens and markers and pencils together in one place, and then I can transport it from my desk to maybe a meeting in the office, etc., etc. And so to display my vision, I have brought with me a dish towel because it's an easy rectangular piece of fabric. So using a dish towel, let me show you what I'm thinking. Here is a dish towel folded in half to show you a long rectangular piece of fabric. I'm thinking for the pencil case, simple. I'm just gonna make a piece of fabric, rectangular shaped. And then I'm going to fold it in such a way where it comes up like this and creates a little pouch shape. Amazing. Then I'll fold the top down and look at that. We have a pencil pouch. Obviously I'll seam the sides, and then on this flap, I'll put a button so that way I can secure the pencil pouch. But like, this is theoretically what I want it to look like, minus being a dish towel that has some loose threads. I want it to look like this kind of pouch situation, and I'll just seam the edges. It'll be super simple. As long as I can crochet the rectangle semi-quickly, I don't know, I might choose like a fun textured stitch. This should be a fairly quick project, and it definitely won't be difficult. So I should have a sick new lanyard and a pencil pouch real soon. And so I'm gonna get started with that today because I'm excited to see like if I wanna use a textured stitch, how and if I want to stripe these yarns. As a reminder, this is the yarn that I have picked. And then I have a secondary yarn where if this is not enough, I do have it, but I would like to just use this. I kind of like that it's darker, so it's difficult to stain with like pen ink. I don't like using lighter colors for pencil bags or pencil pouches. So this is like a nice stash busting project that I think should go rather fast. So I'm gonna start looking at my little stitch pattern book and see if anything sticks out, but it has to be tight enough to not have the pens and the pencil slip out, so it can't be anything lacy, and it has to be slightly tighter. So we'll see what I settle on, but I'm excited. So I'll see you guys soon. Yesterday, I ripped out the entire pouch project and I started over for a couple reasons. So the first reason is that I had originally chained 33 stitches, and those were my active working stitches. But for the stitch pattern that I was using, I actually needed an even number, so my bad. That caused one of the sides to be much taller than the actual rest of the fabric piece, so it was like flaring on one side in a way that I just couldn't ignore. The second reason is that 33 stitches was just too big. I don't know why I thought I would need 100 grading pens and pencils and markers, but I don't need a pouch that sizable. It would have taken like 2 hands to pick up. So I decided yesterday to rip it all out, start over, and I chained 24 stitches, which feels pretty significant to go from 33 to 24, and it is now a manageable size. The ends look great. It looks perfect. So let me go ahead and flip the camera and show you what I have so far. Like I said, I just restarted this project yesterday and I am zooming through it. It has been so addictive to crochet and it's been so much fun. You can see that I am getting to a really good spot with it. The pen nestles perfectly in there. I obviously want it to be a little taller than the pen, and then I still need a front flap, but that should go pretty quickly considering I've done all of this within, gosh, 24 hours. I love this texture. I have been doing what I think is called a lemon peel stitch. That's what I've seen it called online, but it's a double crochet followed by a single crochet, and then the following row you just reverse it. So then you would put a single crochet on top of a double and a double crochet on top of a single, and it creates this really amazing texture. I have seen people do it with other stitches as well. Kind of depending how much texture you want is how different your stitches need to be. So when I first started this project, I started doing a double and then a slip stitch. However, that made the stitches too tight to effectively crochet into. And so when I restarted it, I did a double and a single crochet. Now I have some buttons that I've been thinking about putting on this project, and this is probably my favorite part. So let me go by colors. I have 2 yellows, and I really love the contrast of the yellow on these colors. I think it's super fun and funky, and then it also ties into my lanyard, so that's kind of a moment. I also have some light blue buttons, which I think tie in perfectly with the colors actually in the pouch. Isn't that pretty? I love the shape of these. These are so cute too. The texture, the faux turquoise, they all look stunning, but I do have to choose only one button. And then I also have 2 different dark blue choices that once again look just perfect with this pouch. My goodness. Which one would you choose? I'm curious because there are so many options. Which button would you choose for this pouch? And I am eager to see what my choice is because I also do not know. I think they're all stunning. Apologies if you can hear my neighbor. He is mowing, but I did want to show off the pouch. I really only have a couple steps left and then it's done, which is great because I only have about 4 days left of summer break and then I go back to work. And so I would like to squeeze in a little teacher supply shopping in order to fill this pencil pouch, ironically with 0 pencils because I don't like pencils, but like pens and markers and you know those little felt tip pens. Those are so good. So anyways, I chose my buttons. I decided to go with 2 buttons instead of 1 to close the flap. I just feel like it's more secure. I feel like it's cute. It's a cute little design element because most people just put 1. So I did make 2 buttonholes. Now looking at these buttonholes, you can probably realize that this one is bigger than this one. And that's simply due to the actual stitch pattern and the stitch count that goes on in this. This one has a double crochet, chain 3 double crochet, and this one has a single crochet, chain 3 single crochet. So the actual like width of the buttonhole is the exact same. It's just the height that kind of changes. But the buttons do fit through both of these buttonholes, and so it's no big deal. I could have had them be the exact same height if I was willing to not have it be symmetrical, but I wasn't really up for that. I thought that would probably bug me. In reality, I'd probably forget in like 2 days, but for right now that would bug me, so I just didn't want to do it. So the next step that I really need to do is, I think it's a good length from the buttonhole right now. It's about 1 inch. So I want to continue this row, and then instead of turning, I just want to keep going around the entire project in a single crochet. I like to put a border on my projects before I seam them up because for me at least, it's just more straightforward of like, this goes into this stitch. I prefer it that way instead of just going into these because these are a little janky and they're bumpy and it's just difficult for me. So if I spend more time up front putting the single crochets in, then it just makes me feel like it's easier to seam. So anyways, I'm getting very close. I know you can't see this very well because of the yarn variegation, but the pouch is starting to take shape. I will have my 2 buttons, one right here and one right here. And I will show you those shortly, but I'm getting very, very close and I feel like I'm one movie binge away from potentially having this done. So I'm hoping by tomorrow, whether it's tomorrow morning or tomorrow night, I will give myself some flexibility that I have this done and I can put this and my lanyard in a cute little pile ready to start the school year. One of my best investments for my nighttime crocheting has been an adjustable book light. I think I got this one on Amazon for like $10 and it's rechargeable and it's amazing. I stick it on my tank top or my shirt or a pillow or a blanket, something close by, and it helps me crochet and you can like change the colors and the brightness. It's really amazing. I do feel like an anglerfish, but listen, someone's got to be glamorous and I guess I signed up for the job. So here I am finishing up the pouch tonight. This morning I was able to weave in the ends and sew the buttons on my pencil pouch, so she is all done. I will say I'm cracking up over the fact that I was so insistent on saving the button reveal until the end, because right now I'm making the thumbnail for the video and I'm realizing you guys will have already known what buttons I selected based on the thumbnail. So this isn't really a reveal. I guess to me it was thought of as a reveal, but for you guys, you already know. But anyways, here are the buttons I chose. I genuinely thought that I would use these buttons for a long time, just because I do like how they tie into my lanyard. It's kind of like a color connection, but I also love how the yellow looks with these darker tones. I have a fleece from the 90s in my closet and the colors are very similar, so I just thought that would be fun. But when I saw how these buttons looked, I just thought I had to use them. It kind of looks like two eyes and like I should have a smiley face here, and that made me think of, do you guys remember the character ice creams that used to be, or maybe still are, in ice cream trucks? I'm anaphylactic to dairy, so I can't eat them, but I don't know if they're still in there. But their eyes always looked like this, and there's something about that that just made me so nostalgic, and I knew I had to use this. The pouch is quite roomy. I did the single crochet border around the entire pouch, and then I sealed it, or seamed it, with a single crochet in order to make the widest kind of section I could. So this pouch does have a lot of room to it. It fits my phone, and I guess I don't have anything else to see how big it is, so it fits my hand as well. This could be a glove. And so you can see that there's quite a bit of room in here for whatever I need to use throughout the school year, in meetings, etc. So anyways, that's all I got for you guys. I have my lanyard, I have my pencil pouch, and I'm ready to start the school year. I hope that regardless of your position, whether you're a teacher, a parent, an administrator, I hope you have a great start to your school year. And if you would so like to, if you so choose, please like and subscribe to my channel. I will see you guys later.